White and shy squeeze Lozen Lindley. Hello, good afternoon. My name is Lozen Lindley. I welcome you to the land of the Syilx Okanagan people. I'm from Karamias, BC. I am lucky to live, work, and play on the unceded traditional territory of the Syilx Okanagan people. I'm a daughter, a sister, and a best friend. I call the Okanagan home because of my family and the beauty of the land. I will commit to work alongside Okanagan people to help teach them the ways of knowing upon this land. Today we are here to recognize Indigenous Veterans Day and all that was lost so we can continue to call this place home.
Thank you, Lozen, for your wonderful welcome to start this ceremony. Good morning, students and staff of Mount Boucherie Secondary. We're holding this virtual ceremony to honor and remember the brave Canadians who have served and sacrificed for our country. Today, November 8th, is a special day of remembrance as well, as it's National Indigenous Veterans Day. It is a memorial day observed annually in Canada in recognition of Aboriginal contributions to military service, particularly in the First and Second World Wars and the Korean War. We are privileged to live in a country where we can express our gratitude and respect for our veterans and active service members. Let us honor their memory by committing ourselves to the values they fought for: freedom, justice, and peace. Thank you for joining us today as we pay tribute to our heroes. We will now listen to our former Mount Boucherie student, Phoenix Prince, sing the Okanagan song, followed by our MBSS concert band, directed by Mr. Perry, play O Canada. Please rise and take off your headwear.
ko swi num ta atle ko sukena ken atle hai tem hola.
In Flanders Fields is one of history's most famous wartime poems. It was written in 1915 during the First World War by Canadian officer and surgeon John McCrae. Today, it is being recited by Maddie Keller and Annika Fuller of the Grad Council.
In Flanders fields the poppies blow, between the crosses, row on row, that mark our place, and in the sky the larks still bravely singing fly. Scarce heard amid the guns below, we are the dead short days ago. We lived, felt dawn, saw sunset glow, loved and were loved, and now we lie in Flanders fields.
Take up our quarrel with the foe, to you from failing hands we throw. The torch be yours to hold it high. If ye break faith in us who die, we shall not sleep though poppies grow in Flanders fields.
National Indigenous Veterans Day provides a dedicated time to acknowledge and honor the bravery and service of Indigenous veterans. During World War I, World War II, and the Korean War, it is estimated that 12,000 Indigenous people served. We must never forget the sacrifices that were made by our Indigenous veterans.
I'm standing at the corner of Main Street and East Hastings, and in behind me you can see a number of people carrying flags, and a march has just begun. This is National Indigenous Veterans Day, and we're going to take a bit of time and actually try and talk to some of the folks here along the march. Nice to see you. So first of all, why don't we tell our viewers your name and your involvement with this event today?
My name is Jamie Thomas. I'm from the Snuneymuxw First Nation. I served in the United States Marine Corps from 1986 to 1990.
Why is it so significant, you know, as a Canadian, you're from Nanaimo, right? So to be here today?
It gives us an opportunity to use our own language, culture, and ceremony. And come together and share with the other people that are willing to join us.
And what's it like, you know, knowing the history of Indigenous people in this country? You know, we're all still working through truth and reconciliation, especially that reconciliation part, seeing the support in behind you.
It didn't start like this. This isn't something that just happened overnight. It's evolved over time. Prior to that, we weren't even recognized in the local cenotaphs. So today is a work in progress. We're looking to move forward with it, and it's always a positive aspect to see the support that we have.
80 years ago, Canadian troops landed at Juno Beach in France with 150,000 Allied troops in total. The bravery of these soldiers represented a significant role in shaping the outcome of World War II and liberating Western Europe. This became known as D-Day.
A meeting of generations and of nations. A dozen Second World War veterans from Canada applauded as they took their seats of honor at a Canadian war cemetery in Normandy, surrounded by headstones etched with the maple leaf. Soldiers who didn't make it home from a war that reached its turning point on D-Day 80 years ago. 99-year-old George Couture was there.
Well, I come ashore right over here.
The cemetery is just over 5 kilometers inland from Juno Beach, where the Canadians landed on that fateful day.
I was only 17 years old, actually.
He was captured and taken prisoner by Nazi troops just days later. 99-year-old retired Captain William Wilson was also a part of D-Day, a seaman gunner on a ship supporting landing troops.
The surface of the ocean was covered with ships and boats and landing craft.
He knows he was lucky.
I wasn't there at the beach. Thank God.
Wilson believes that despite ceremonies like this one, few people understand the cost of war.
6 years it took us. 6 years. All those people died, and nobody knows about it. Well, that hurts.
But glimpsed amongst the headstones, more than one Canadian school group.
It kind of hits a lot more than like the war memorials in Ottawa.
It's overwhelming to see it instead of just pictures.
There are also children of the French communities welcoming the veterans and their families back to Normandy each year, coaxed by parents into careful approaches.
Canadian peacekeepers play a vital role in international peacekeeping efforts around the world. Since 1956, over 125,000 Canadians have served as peacekeepers in various places around the world. Our very own Miss Gallagher has a personal story of peacekeeping to share with us.
Hi there, I'm Mrs. Gallagher, and this is my reflection and my deep gratitude to the selfless efforts of the Canadian peacekeepers during the last Balkan War. While I was born in Canada, I was raised in an Eastern European cultural setting, and Serbo-Croatian is my first language. My dad was Slovenian, and my mom was born in Bosnia-Herzegovina in a city called Mostar. Mostar has become well known, especially after the destruction of the famous Stady Most during the Civil War in the early 90s. November 9, 1993 was known as the saddest day in Mostar's history. I grew up spending a lot of my childhood walking the streets of Mostar. In fact, Mom and Dad flew me out alone in the summer of 1989 at the age of 12, only a few years before the war broke out in 1991. My cousins served in the war. My relatives lived in fear, literally dodging bullets, hoping their lives, their homes, would survive the brutalities that lasted for years. Over 100,000 people were killed, more than 2,000 in Mostar alone, and over 2 million people were displaced. A lot of my family now reside in other countries. I remember watching the news on the TV, awaiting their phone calls. I remember the calls for action, praying for a ceasefire. To all the soldiers, the peacekeepers who sacrificed their lives to help my family, I thank you, and we will never forget all your efforts. This year is a special year at Mount Boucherie as we set off on our Europe tour this March, where we will visit Mostar and Croatia, where I can share all about this unique city, a UNESCO site with polarizing populations living together again in harmony. Mostar remains an important symbol of peace and resilience, and would not be this way without the dedication of all the peacekeepers. Thank you to all the peacekeepers for all that you've done, and thank you for listening.
The MBSS Concert Band will be playing a piece called Letters from Home. We thank Miss Preston's drama students for the footage laying the wreaths at the West Kelowna War Memorials. During the third movement of the song, please take note of the local Syilx Nation veterans who bravely fought in the war for Canada and the United States. The playing of the last post signifies the end of the soldier's duty and serves as a reminder of those who have given their lives in service. Please rise, remove your headwear, and bow your heads for the playing of the last post, followed by a moment of silence, finishing with Reveille. Today, as we should every day, we remember those who volunteered, sacrificed, served, fought, and died for our freedom. We thank those that made the ultimate sacrifice. We will never forget. We will remember you. On November 11th, please take some time to reflect on the courage, dedication, and resilience of those who have fought to protect our freedoms and way of life. Thank you very much for your participation in the Remembrance Day ceremony. Your teachers will now provide support for a school-wide activity to demonstrate togetherness as we remember our veterans.